Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Sifu Messiah. Now, if you don't know, this is a weekly show that covers everything from the Robot Space Industry's website over the past week. Links can be found in the description below to everything we talk about. Let's get on with it. So, this week on Star Citizen Sunday, we have the obvious 10 for the Chairman and Around the Verse, plus we get to look at all the concept ships that have been announced on the anniversary sale, including the Javelin, the Carrack, the Banu Merchantman. Stay tuned, we shall dissect them all. So, kicking off as always with 10 for the Chairman. Again, lots of good questions. I think I only missed out one because it was to do with holding cells in the Cutlass, and we've been over that. If you don't know, check back on the previous weeks. So, question number 1, will corpses in FPS have hitboxes? So basically, can they be used as shields? Chris Roberts says yes, definitely. So if you're in an FPS fight and a few people have gone down, you're pushing on, you can use those dead bodies to lie behind. We know there's a pro mechanic. Really good. So next question, what happens if we can't afford to refuel? So if you're in space and you've run out of fuel because you've not managed your resources too well, you will be stranded technically. So you can either take out a loan, which will allow you to refuel. Now obviously if you're in space, this is irrelevant anyway because you're nowhere near a refueling station. I don't know how it would work if you're in the middle of space. I assume you'd have to call for an emergency refueling. You may have to leave your ship and hail someone to take you back to the planet side to collect fuel or call a salvage towing organisation. But he did say that you can, if you don't want to use your ship, if you've got no fuel, you can't afford any fuel, you can take jobs from NPCs and real players. Now he did say there will be obviously different jobs, different players. If it's a real player, you could be a pilot, you could be helping with the FPS. If it's an NPC, he said it'll most likely be more menial jobs. I'm not sure what that involves. Taking out the trash, maybe. But you obviously won't earn as much as having your own ship. If you have your own ship, all profit is going to you, whereas obviously it'll be a shared profit from NPCs or players. So the question after that was to do with whether or not we'll see comets flying around in space, obviously. And will there be like an ice harvesting mechanic for comets or for ice fields? And yes to comets. He definitely thinks there will be one. It'll be a different mining mechanic for them compared to your standard asteroid mining. He says there's going to be lots of different platforms for mining, so I expect ice will be there. I know we've got an ice planet somewhere, and I like the idea of the sort of dead space theory. I know I keep bringing that game up, but I've recently gone through all the games, and I loved the atmosphere that they created, so I'm hoping we can go planet side on an ice planet and have to, you know, like The Thing. If you've ever seen the film The Thing, if you haven't, watch it. The original's better, but there's still a new modern one if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, something like that would be really interesting to me in this game. Now, the next question was to do with cybernetic arms, legs, you know, limbs. And if an EMP grenade, which we saw in the FPS demo, goes off, and you've got a cybernetic arm or leg, would this impact that arm and you would lose control? Chris Roberts says that there's a good chance yes. Now, I remember him saying that this would actually happen. Well, I think he may have forgotten about that. But, I mean, who am I to correct Chris Roberts? So he says yes, it's a good chance. If it's not implemented yet, but it makes sense. So again, immersion, reality, you know, it's going to be real. So it would affect your arm if an EMP went off, unless they had some sort of protection system against it. I don't know. We're delving into the unknown. So the question after that was to do with the tractor beam and whether or not it can be used to manipulate the environment to your advantage. So if you're in space waiting for, you know, a battle, can you use this to move maybe asteroids in place to put them into better positions? And Chris Roberts says yes, it will depend on the size. Obviously the tractor beam will only have a certain strength to it. It wouldn't be able to move planets or, you know, maybe huge ships, but smaller asteroids you will be able to use and build yourself a little man cave of asteroids, I suppose, if you want to, but I don't think it would be huge asteroids. And again, maybe bigger ships, capital ships, will have stronger tractor beams, which if they do, they maybe be able to move bigger asteroids. Again, not fleshed out fully yet, but I like the idea. I bought a tractor beam for my Aurora. It was the first thing I bought, actually, and I couldn't even put it on it until now. Anyway, moving on. The next question has really sort of sparked up a lot of debate. It is a very in-depth question with a lot of opinion either side. Basically, the question was, will beds and toilets and showers have a functional purpose in the PU? Now, obviously we know beds will act as a save point. If you want to log out, you can get into your bed, save the game, provided you're not in combat, a bit like Daisy, you know, I don't think you can do it while you're in a battle. Now this sort of, Chris Roberts has sort of mentioned into this a little bit. He doesn't know himself fully how much they're going to implement this idea, but he thinks there'll be a lightweight type interaction for it, which will be fun. Now, to do with beds, toilets and showers, the general question is, will we have to sleep, will we have to eat, and will we have to drink, and will we need to clean ourselves? And now I personally, my opinion on this, which is just my opinion, okay, everyone is entitled to theirs. I want to know your opinion, but I don't want any arguments in the comments, because everyone has their own opinion and everyone plays games differently. So I would like to see this. When I played Fallout New Vegas for the first time and they had this eating, sleeping, drinking mechanic, I thought that was brilliant. I really loved that. I'm a very much immersive gamer. I want to be fully immersed as if it's a different world to my own, to our own. Sorry, I'm not in a different world to you lot. But yeah, I'd like to see this. Now, Chris Roberts does say there may be, you know, a function where you need to sleep, because if you get tired, then you'll be lethargic, you'll slow down, maybe your vision will be impaired. Showering, you may need to, because then maybe NPCs won't want to talk to you because you smell, so you may miss out on jobs. Eating, again, you may become slow, your vision impaired, you know, what happens when you don't eat. He didn't mention drinking, but yeah, so things like this will have a slight lightweight, he says, interaction to your character, not fleshed out. Now when I look on the forums and on the comments of this video, the 10 for the Chairman video, there was a lot of debate about it, which is understandable because everyone plays games for different reasons. I would like to see it. I can understand why a lot of people won't, but I see this, I mean, Star Citizen is a simulator in a sense. It is supposed to be a space sim, but now it's changing its name to I think it was a universe sim, because obviously there's planet side. So if it's a sim, you will need this kind of thing. Not like, I mean, obviously the Sims have to do it, but again, Fallout, it works well in Fallout, and mods for Skyrim do this as well. I believe it should be a really good thing, and to be honest, it would really help the economy, because obviously, as we know, planets I expect will have a certain reduction in food that will need to be replenished. Now, this doesn't mean that people are physically eating the food, it just means that that planet uses this much food over this period of time. It'll need to be replaced. So that's, I think, how the economy will work currently for food. If we have the point where we have to eat it ourselves, then we have to find this food, we have to buy this food, which means this food has to be transported. It will require real jobs to get to real places, otherwise people are going to starve. I don't think, hopefully, if it's going to be too in-depth, then you will starve to death, but it would be nice to be able to go into the depths of space with enough food and then have to come back, you know, to resupply, which is real. It's realistic. It also opens up a lot of gameplay elements. These are just my thoughts, but I've always thought, you know, if you need to go to the toilet, it's perfect. You see films, perfect time for stealth kills. If someone's having a piss, go up behind them, stab them. That's a good way. If you're boarding a ship, maybe you've gone to the toilet, you're being boarded, but you don't know because you're in the toilet. Everyone goes to the hull, to the bridge, sorry, and kills the people on board or captures the people on board. You're still on the toilet. You're an asset to to your ship. You can come out, open fire, call in, you know, help. There's so much to going to the toilet and having a shower that could work. Obviously, items and resource management will play a big part. If you've got a mission, it's not just the weapons you've got to carry or your clothing, it's your food, your inventory, everything. Whether or not it'll be you die or you're just impaired until you eat something or sleep, we don't know. But I think that is a broad question, a very good question, and I am excited for Chris's views on it. It's nice to know that he's thinking of implementing it. If you want to see it, tell me. If you don't want to see it, tell me. Again, no arguments. Let's just have a debate about it. Let's find out what people think. Anyway, next question. So the next question was to do with a science mechanic and whether or not there's any ideas to implement it properly, you know, as in like a career path in a sense. And would it be profitable or interesting? And there's nothing as yet there's no career path that Chris Roberts has created. There's no intention to. Later down the line, maybe, as always, but he did say there is a science ship which will tie into exploration, scanning, sort of alien artifacts, Jan technology. You know, if you discover it, you can figure it out or take it to a science lab on planet side that you want to be interacting with and have it figured out, and then you can use it, you know, or it can develop new technology for ships. Now it's not going to be, I don't know, like, you know, in a science lab yourself doing tests. I don't think it's going to be as in-depth as that. It will just be you find something, you scan it on a set bed type, you know, like a med bed sort of thing, but for science, and then you discover something. Even if that's not implemented, it may be down the line. So moving on. Can we choose our home on a planet, build it or buy it? Again, one of my favourite thoughts of Star Citizen is owning my own place, planet side, going out, finding a job, going on a job, you know, just the idea of this is, again, makes it more simulation, And again, you'd have to make sure you've got food in the cupboards. A lot of people may find that boring. I find it quite interesting to do that. I don't know why. I think I'm not alone either. But anyway, he says you'll definitely be able to acquire real estate. Not every planet. The big planets like Terra, Earth, etc. will be the first places to have real estate. And he did mention you can buy hangars, and there may be like a penthouse apartment overlooking somewhere, maybe Gosh, somewhere really nice. But yeah, obviously it'll trickle down to other planets eventually. But small planets that are really on the fringes, maybe ones in Vandal space, will not have locations to buy because it would just be too dangerous. It wouldn't be relevant really. But I mean, I would love a little shack. I always find when I play games, like when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5, I didn't want to move out of Franklin's house. I loved being in the ghetto. I didn't want to go out to Beverly Hills side. But anyway, so longer term, yeah, new areas and planets to discover. If they're habitable, then using this, he said that procedural generation would play in this. So if you find a planet, it's habitable, you would maybe start a new colony there, or a new colony would pop up. It would need to be supplied with equipment and materials. And he says you will be able to see it grow like SimCity. So it will start from a few little buildings and then grow into this huge expanse of buildings. And he says eventually, hopefully, we would like to have, maybe buy your own homestead there. So in the pipeline, yes, I expect we will see us being able to get ourselves planetside, buying houses, buying organisation areas, hangars, real estate. All this is going to be available, but day one will probably not be. Maybe there'll be a minimum amount of hangars to buy on Terra, Earth, the main places. But still, really exciting, and it just proves how big this game is going to be. So that was 8 questions. I can't remember the other one I left off, but let me know your thoughts on that. I thought they were very good questions, but there were a lot that are open for debate. So give me your thoughts in the comments. So on Around the Verse episode 22, again Sandy and Ben, they first mentioned about the anniversary sale. As we know, it's kicking off now, or it's been going on for a while. We will get into that because there's a lot of ships being released. It is smashing 2 or 3 stretch goals, really destroying them. And I'm going to talk about all the ships at the end, say what each one does, show you some pictures that we've seen. If you haven't seen them already, stay tuned because they are incredible ships. Really incredible. Anyway, news from Around the Verse. So starting with Arena Commander, they have been working on a dynamic countermeasures camera. Also, there's going to be a kill cam, a tail cam, and maybe a missile view, so you follow the missile down. All these cinematic cameras, which will help all us video makers, and anyone just interested in seeing some cool replays or cool shots of deaths, you'll be able to see them in full glory. So, Vandal Swarm now has an 18th wave. Instead of 15 waves, it's now up to 18. It's been rebalanced, and there are new threats apparently, and the AI has been tweaked again. So it's going to play a little more smoothly, I expect. So Squadron 42, Mission 10 is in lightboxing. Now Mission 10, I believe, is the last one of the first iteration of Squadron 42. I think there's going to be 5 because there was apparently 50 missions, so each mission takes an hour. We're on to Mission 10, the white box in it now, so then it'll be adding textures and all sorts, and then it'll be finished, and then we'll be able to play it next year. My God, I am so excited. Anyway, conversion system has continued work, including a bubble function. I really have no idea what this means. More in-depth NPC conversations, that's what it means, sorry. So, it's going to be better than Mass Effect, the conversations where you get to choose what you say to your comrades on the the frigates on Squadron 42. It's going to be like a bubble, speech bubble. I don't know how I feel about that. Hopefully it won't look too cartoony. I doubt it will. I can't imagine they would do that, but it's supposed to be a lot better than Mass Effect. So if you've played Mass Effect, you just get a little dial at the bottom where you can decide which ones you want to say. Again, you'll have to go through Squadron 42 a few times just in order to get the full idea of what's happening, because there could be so many different paths to take. Anyway, inventory weapons wheel spec is completed. This will allow you to switch weapons smoothly. Don't know how it'll look. We shall see in the future. So, with the persistent universe, medical props and relay stations are entered concept phase. Now, we know medical props will probably be med beds, things like that. Relay stations, I think, are in space to relay comms or relay navigation beacons and so forth. Now, I've had an idea of this. If you've ever seen Oblivion, the film with Tom Cruise, I would like a job like that in this persistent universe where you stay on a space station with a group of people, NPCs or players, and then you have to maintain this security, be security for this. And if someone destroys a nav beacon, if they're trying to gain entry into your system, your station, you would obviously not know if someone's destroyed it or if it's just had its lifespan, and you have to go out and fix it and you could get attacked. I think that would be a really good sort of NPC job where you would get paid for being there a relative amount, because obviously people won't want to just hang around in a space station. I think it would be pretty cool, but I would probably get bored pretty quick. So maybe, you know, there's places there. Anyway, design for characters on the Nix system has begun. Now, I found this quite interesting because I didn't realise they were designing characters for each system. Obviously, maybe each system will have their own defining clothing or maybe a little twang in their accent, but there's going to be different characters for each system. I never thought about this. I just thought it would be maybe lots of generic characters, maybe tweaked a little bit. But anyway, why Nix? You know, is it to do with Squadron 42? Is that why they're getting it in first? Or early? It's such a random system to choose, isn't it, really? But art has finished for the Dumpers Depot and the Art Core Bar, which we saw in the PU demo. And yeah, so ships. Now, Avenger Damage States has been designed. They'll be out in version 1.0. Blade, the Vandal Blade and Cleaver started grey boxing. The 890 jump, the 85X, which is the little compact two-seater ship that you get on the 890 jump as complimentary. The Reclaimer and the Herald models moved into engine. So they're in the CryEngine. They're being developed and they'll hopefully be hangar ready soon. I don't know if the 890 jump or the Reclaimer will fit in the hangar. We'll see what they do with them. FPS, the visual effects have begun for laser weapons. Pretty cool. We saw a lot of these ideas on the FPS demo. Props, including the microwave, the kitchen sinks, and the boxing dummy have been completed. Such random things to choose. And the burst cannon animation has begun, which is another FPS weapon. And apparently all weapons will have their own ID. You know, you'll know what weapon it is, hopefully by hearing it, by seeing it, by licking it. Anyway, let's move on. We met with Germac and Omar, who are concept artists, and they've been working on the Carrack. Now, I've not put the full thing in, I've just put the images that they showed us of the Carrack. I would suggest watching this because it is really interesting. It's only a short snippet, but I found it really interesting. So after that was Mark Bent with Bug Smashers, and it was to do with countermeasures. Again, it's not my thing, isn't Mark Bent's things. I don't understand anything he's talking about, but if you're into it, I'll put a link in the description below to this Temple of the Chairman, because I know a lot of people are really interested in the Bug Smashers. So, MVP with Will Lewis. I got his name wrong last week, sorry Will. The organisation trading cards. Now, this week's MVP is from a guy called Hardy Hero, who creates trading cards for organisations. Really cool. And if you're an organisation, apparently he will do them for you. I think they said it was free, but I think if he gets overwhelmed with offers, he will have to start getting it paid for because he won't be able to have time to do it. But anyway, if you're an organisation and you want trading cards, look him up. Again, link in the description. So the interview today with James Pugh was with Omar Aweda. Sorry, I really can't pronounce that. Who is an associate concept artist, and he is the guy that was helping Germac create the concept for the Carrack. So he is responsible for that as well. Really good interview. Again, taking questions from the community. Watch it if you're interested. So we're back to Ben, and the concept sale has started, he says, which we know about. We'll go into. And the sneak peek, again, was the Carrack exterior, which, with all that's been released already, it's pointless watching it. I'll put it up just for the sake of it, but we've seen it all anyway. Now, the amazing thing is what they're doing is with this, they released the Javelin. I'll go into more detail later, which is a huge, huge ship, the smallest in the UEE frigates, of the UEE fleet, and it's about 300 odd meters long, 345 I think it was. Now they're selling 200 of these in 50 sections, so you can buy 50 at one time. I think they've pretty much gone now. They literally sold out within a minute. Luckily I couldn't afford one anyway because I'm poor, but they have literally gone. And they're doing this to provide new backers to pledge into the game for just $20, which gets them the Aurora, the game, Squadron 42, Arena Commander Pass, everything they need. And yeah, and they were going down quick. So that's it for Around the Verse. So, as we can expect, there is a letter from the chairman again. I cannot keep up with where we were to start with. I think we'd just reached 62 million, or we have just reached it recently, which got us the Genesis class Starliner, which is a passenger liner. Then 63 million got us the Miska Reliant, which is the third starter ship, which is a two-seater ship, which uses Jean technology, which is pretty sweet. But the 64 million, which I thought was amazing, is that we get pets. If this is the first time you've heard about it, let out a little scream, because I think it's pretty cool. So he did explain, Jones the cat off Aliens, Daggett, I think it was from Battlestar Galactica, I don't know, I've not seen that one. But yeah, I'll read the little post for you. So, pets. We have a repair bot, we have fish, but we haven't implemented a traditional pet system in Star Citizen yet. At 64 million, that changes. From Jones the cat in Alien, to Battlestar Galactica's Daggett. Pets have a place on board starships, and we want to give you that option in Star Citizen. Expect traditional terrestrial options, like cats, dogs, monkey, maybe? I don't know. Plus anything exotic that we can dream up in the Star Citizen universe. Those horseshoe grey crabs that keep escaping are just the start. So you can have your own little crab. This stretch goal is in honour of Paddington. I'll put a link in the description below. If you've not seen the video which helped get the 4 million stretch goal, Paddington, which is a little dog which became noticed in this stretch goal. He was just sat in the crowd as one of the crew, but unfortunately he passed away recently. So it's in honour of this Paddington. I hope we get a little statue for our hangar of Paddington. That would be lovely. He was a strike dog of the UEE's Paul Steed. So yeah, thanks to him, we get pets. After that, he mentioned that the $65 million stretch goal, which again we have already hit, we're already got it. We're about $200 into that stretch goal already. He's not specified. He did say it's a major feature which expands on the plan that they have for modular ships. Whether, I don't know what that means, we shall see. So we need to hear about that, and then obviously we need to know what the $66 million stretch goal is as well, because we don't know yet. Incredible. The community with Star Citizen is just outstanding. I mean, it's literally like a middle finger to all the publishers out there that thought that Space Sims and the PC was dead. Ha, wankers. Anyway, let's move on from that one. Okay, so to finish up on this week's episode, I just want to talk about the concept sale and all the ships that are available. I'll tell you some details on the ships, show you some pictures of them, because this is super exciting stuff. They've quickly released, as they said they would, all these different ships that are available for concept, plus some new ones. Now, there's about 7 ships, and I shall put them in order of my least favourite to my favourite. Again, my opinion. I want to know your opinion on what you're most excited for. My least is like a joint least. The Gladiator and the K2O, which is the Jean little fighter. The Gladiator, as you can see, I'll put some pictures up. It's like a small ship, and it says it packs a big punch. It's designed to operate against capital ships and installations, as it's a bomber, and it's a UEE's premier strike craft. If you've been wondering how we are supposed to take out frigates like the Idris or the massive carriers, obviously if you're sat in my Aurora and you're hitting it with your pew-pew weapons, it ain't going to do shit. So, the Gladiator is there to bomb it. It'll conduct bombing. I'll probably cut that out. Conduct bombing runs, and it's got a man turret on the back, so it's a 2-seater ship. One sits facing forward, piloting, dropping bombs. The other one faces backwards with a turret. And yeah, you fly along, you drop your bombs onto the top of the ships, and hopefully destroy the damn things. It says it can also be customised for peacetime roles, like explorer or support roles such as a command and control platform, which is cool. We didn't know that before. So it's currently on track to be the next hangar ready ship, as it's needed in Squadron 42, so it's been pushed to the front of the line, I think, and it should be ready for flight in Arena Commander 1.0 and 2.0, because it is a multi-crewed ship. So I know they said 2.0 is likely to be the time when multi-crewed ships come out, but we will see. Hopefully it'll be 1.0, as it's only just 2 people. Now, it doesn't feature any room to walk around, as you can see from the cross section, but you know, you're close, you can talk, you can exchange war stories or talk about Coronation Street, etc. Now, obviously Joint 6 was the K2O. Now, these ships I don't mean that I don't like them, I just mean that compared to the rest of the ships that I'm going to talk about, these are the ones I'm least interested in. This one I particularly do like. It is a really cool look, it's got a cool silhouette, and it flies differently apparently. You know, it's a little Jean scout ship. It uses the technology that we see in this. So if you've tried flying it, or not that you can, but when we try flying it, it'll actually be similar to how the rest of the Jean fleet will fly, or ships will fly, you know, so it's using the same technology throughout. It's completely different to anything we've seen in Star Citizen compared to other ships, and apparently it says that if a properly modded version would be ideal for the Murray Cup. So I think it's going to be quite nippy, quite nifty getting in and out of these little checkpoints. Now, unfortunately, we probably won't be seeing this in version 1.0 because they're dedicating a lot of time to creating the ship to be completely different, obviously, because it is different. You know, there's going to be a different thruster system, there's going to be a different HUD for it, which will be unique to what we've seen so far, because it is a Jean, it's a different race. Hopefully 2.0 may be in between 1 and 2, we don't know yet. Now, number 5 on my list, which I'm sure a lot of people are probably up in their top 3, is the Retaliator. Now, to me, I am more about exploration, mining, the economy, rather than fighting. So to me, a fighting ship is not exciting. We've seen a lot of them. And again, it says in the description for this that, like a lot of multi-crew ships, they are actually more orientated to exploration and transport. So this is a dedicated sort of fighting bomber, which apparently is covered in turrets, and it carries a heavy bomb load as well, which is perfect for striking enemy bases and capital ships. Now, it is also extremely modular. They did say, imagine swapping out in some quarters or some cargo area. So I think there will be like a civilian variant of it, which, I mean, it's an eight-man ship at the moment. It would be exciting to have it as a cargo ship, because it does look really, really cool. So we can expect to see this in Arena Commander 2.0, which again, as we know, is the area for multi-crew ships. It is again another Foundry 42, Squadron 42 game, so it's being put into the engine pretty early on in the development of other ships, because it will be needed in the main single player. So ship number 4 on my list is again an alien ship, the Banu Merchantman. Now, I get a really cool ship. I do like the idea of this. It looks super cool. It has a lot of cargo capacity, but again, it's alien to me. It won't feel like home to me if I was on this ship. But that aside, it does sound like a very cool ship. You know, it's going to be capable of landing or docking and then inviting locals to view its cargo. It's got a huge cargo hold and even like a little meeting room where you can overlook the cargo hold. A full living quarters, I expect. Really cool. Again, I think it's likely to be just after 2.0, they say. Maybe not one of the first ones they release, just a bit after. So it has, 8-person crew, 6,000 freight units. To be, it's not completely thorough on these stats. They are subject to change, but it is 100 meters long, so it's a big ship. So ship number 3 is the Drake Caterpillar. Now this is, again, I've always looked forward to this, and the way it works is really interesting. It's a modular ship it's got like a detachable hull, which can be swapped out for, as we know, cargo so far. Don't know what the rest will be, but it is an interesting ship, mainly used by pirates. It's also intended as a platform for boarding operations, where the pirates can marshal their stock troops on board, or their shock troops, sorry, on board the ship, and then force their way into larger targets like frigates and cruisers, and I expect the big door will open up, everyone will burst out, and fire will be everywhere. Again, we'll see it with or just after Arena Commander 2.0. Probably won't be needed early on in the Squadron 42, so it's on the wayside a bit, really. So again, the stats, which again, subject to change: 5-person crew, 3,200 freight units, it's 67 meters in length. A nice looking ship, if I don't say so myself. So number 2 in my list, we're getting close, is the Carrack, the Anvil Carrack. Now, this was apparently a UEE exploration ship. It has reinforced fuel tanks for long duration flight, a highly advanced jump drive array, and a dedicated computer core room that allows it to put the maximum processing power into jump charting operations. So a good one if you're looking to explore the universe, find jump points, name jump points. This is the ship you'll need. It was a military exclusive, but it's now available for civilians as a Pathfinder spacecraft, as we just said. So it has onboard accommodations to allow for a truly self-sufficient flight. So I think they were mentioning in the little blurb before, when we saw Carrack and Oman, I hope you can't hear that bloody siren in the background. They were saying that they were thinking of implementing the living quarters with the main deck, but I think they've decided to keep them separate, because obviously you will want to have a place away from home which doesn't involve work. So there will be a living quarters with beds, kitchen, I expect, and then you have your cool looking map room. Oh, really cool ship. I do like this ship a lot. It has its own little rover which allows you to drive out and explore with. It's a 5-person crew as a maximum, but obviously people can still be on board, and there are no freight units, but we may be able to swap them out with different assets, who knows. It's 123 meters in length, very, very long, and it does look a lot like the Firefly, I must say. Now, number 1 on my list, and I'm sure the majority of you will probably agree, is the Aegis Javelin. This is a fucking beast, it really is. It's about 345 meters long. As I said, it was the smallest of the UEE fleet, which means there's going to be much bigger ones. We know about the Bengal carrier, but there's going to be other ones as well. So it's massive, it's modular, it's a capital ship. It can be appropriated for entrepreneurial use. Now, they sold off 200, and they were apparently, in fiction, ex-UEE military ships that are now being given to the population to buy. They don't come with all the weapons. You have to outfit it yourself. You just get the ship. There's a high crew capacity of 23, but there are escape pods, and I think there's escape pods for up to 80 people. There is a full crew eating mess hall, so you will have a full army with you if you were to buy one of these ships. You would have obviously your crew to fly it and then your groups to fight. So the positions on the bridge include obviously captain, executive officer, communications, weapons, radar, helm. There's science positions. This ship just keeps getting better. So the bridge is surrounded by escape pods designed to allow the entire command team to make a quick egress from, should the worst happen. These escape pods, which can be found throughout the ship, are designed to carry 5 crew each. They are military spec, oriented for easy retrieval by unladen Argo transport ships, it says. We don't know what they are. They're obviously the recovery, rescue and recovery ships. But this is cool. You're going to be in, if you get recovered by pirates, there's going to be 5 of you. So you're going to be 5 captors, or you may be able to burst out open fire if you've got your weapons on you. Awesome stuff. So there are lots of decks to this as well. And starting with the top deck, it's known as the officer's country. It's home quarters of the captain and the executive officer, with all the comforts of home, it says. Whatever that means, we don't know yet. There are 6 modular rooms and the upper hangar, used for small launches or cargo. So if you're, bringing supplies to the ship, if you've got an organisation that has this ship, you want to bring some supplies to them, you can land on the top of this ship, drop it off, have a cup of tea, and then piss off again. Now, there's an array of battle-oriented room modules, which can be easily slotted in and out of place while the Javelin is in orbit. A number of other manufacturers are now creating aftermarket modules for civilian roles such as science, cartography, and additional escape pods for officers are present on the top deck as well. The Javelin isn't just a name, it says. The ship's internal layout philosophy is based around long, straight Javelin corridors. Right angle turns are used most exclusively to connect to more long, straight corridors, giving the ship an overall cramped but stretched feel. Now, if you get boarded on one of these corridors are going to be huge, and they're going to be really scary. If you get boarded by aliens, I don't know if, going to Alien Isolation as an idea, if this alien jumps on board, hopefully we'll have things like that. You're going to have to fight your way through this ship. It is going to be like Dead Space. Again, I've mentioned it again, I'm sorry, but it's going to be like that. It's going to be a mission in itself just to try and get this ship under control, or if you're boarding it, so impressive. So the mid-deck is where the real work happens. It includes 2 torpedo bays, 6 turret emplacements, which obviously gives it both offensive and defensive capabilities. The Javelin's engine column is located here, and the Navy advised that it be staffed at all times for optimal performance. So obviously, if you're an engineer, you're going to have to do little works with it, making sure things are working smoothly. We don't really know the engineering mechanic yet, but I'm sure it's going to be just as in-depth as all the other mechanics. Onboard communications connects the engine column directly to the command stations on the bridge. 2 of the modular component rooms can be slotted onto the mid-deck. The ship's left flank includes access to the hangar, medical bay and brig, while the right flank includes 2 sets of crew quarters, showers, toilets, and the mess hall. Mid-decks also include escape pods. So if you are a big crew, if you are a crew of 80 people and you're the captain, you've got to feed these. If this is true, you want to keep your squad up to full health, of players or NPCs, you're going to have to feed these people. So you've got to take in resource management there, buying a lot of food. You're going to have to call for resuppliers. So again, me being a little Aurora pilot, I might have just enough to supply a few people with some food, so I'll drop off and make a little stop. I can't wait for this game, I really can't. Each deck is given a specific function, and in case of the mid-deck, divided laterally with crew habitations and functions placed on the right and military functions on the left. So they divided it quite nicely so you understand where to go. Subdecks are reserved for engineering and turret access, with their cramped, dimly lit corridors reflecting their utilitarian maintenance purpose. So the bottom deck includes 6 dedicated cargo rooms, 2 engineering facilities, and access to the engine column. From the engine column, crew can access 2 STS turrets, I think that's ship to ship, I'm not 100% sure, and 4 of the modular component rooms. The Javelin's main hangar is located in this area. While smaller than a dedicated carrier's hangar, the Javelin can still accommodate a limited number of individual spacecraft. The hangar is primarily designed to deploy a single Aegis Redeemer gunship, which is awesome, and a crew of Marines for boarding operations. Now, other ships, it does actually give a list, I'll read them out, what ships can be fitted on this hangar. There's 1 Gladiator can be fitted, or 1 Hornet, 1 Avenger, 1 Gladiator, 1 300 series. You can either fit 2 M50s, 2 Auroras, 1 Cutlass, 1 Mustang, or 4 Merlins. Now, this isn't all at once. This is just one or the other. But yeah, so you can have, a little fighter there helping you out. Now, the subdecks. We don't know how many decks there are altogether. This is so far 4, but it does put plural in, and there is a subdeck 1, subdeck 2, so there'll be more than, 4 decks. The subdecks, which with access to additional functionality, subdeck 1 provides access to 2 modular component rooms, while subdeck 2 features 3 Class 6 ATA turrets, turret emplacements, and a maintenance EVA airlock, which is awesome. The subdecks are the area for most exposed to space, and it's best to place your junior organisation members down there. If you think about it, if you're wanting to board this ship, the subdecks would be the best option. We know the boarding ship will be able to go in silently without being noticed. So if you latch onto the subdeck and get inside without being noticed, you're going to have to fight the junior organisation members, which may not necessarily mean that they're not the best, but they may not have had as much training, they may be NPCs, and so you would fight your way from the bottom up. Plus, you would be able to take out their engines easier from going the bottom than the top, obviously, because I expect the captain may have security. So anyway, the ship's 6 total swappable customization rooms make the base Javelin a chassis that can be customized for different roles by switching these rooms. Although first and foremost a combat-focused ship, the flexibility has allowed the Javelin to serve well beyond the life expectancy of other ships of its age. So the specifications: it is 345 meters in length, 148 meters beam, and height of 65. The null cargo mass is to be confirmed yet, but the cargo capacity is 5,400. There's a maximum crew of 23, and there are 16 5-man escape pods. Each escape pod is 3 meters by 3 meters by 4, which means there's a total of 80 people that can escape. And looking at the pictures, wow. Anyway, so that's it for the ships. That's the concept sale. Now, they've all sold out. Thank God the organisation I'm with has actually bought one, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment, and it's hard to keep track of everything. I hope this has updated you all on what's happening. Give me your thoughts. Tell me what ships you're most excited for. Tell me what you're least excited for. I just can't wait to get into the game properly, I'm losing sleep. So also this week there was a fan spotlight, which was Fanships Volume 3, and I'll show you some pictures now of the 4 ships that have been chosen. Really cool. Hopefully they'll make it into the game if the modding tools come available. We meet Zane BN in the Meet the CIG devs. There's a new Observist post where we visit the Idris system and learn about its history. And Star Citizen was featured on Edge magazine. We've got the front and the back cover images there. I hopefully will get my hands on one, but they're about $7.99, and it's more than I want to pay for a magazine. Anyway, I just want to say that the Star System guides are coming along well. It's got to be Stanton's system, but it's taken longer than I thought it would. Obviously, I'd like to do it properly and thoroughly, so it will hopefully be this next week. I will get it up there. So if you're waiting for that, I apologise. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Always leave me a comment if there's anything I can do to improve it, or if there's anything you want to hear. Tell me your thoughts about the game in its current state, and yeah, keep tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for next week's and the Star Citizen guide, system guide, and I shall see you in the verse.